Hello and welcome to the Lorna Marie Fitness Podcast, the show where we talk all things fitness, health, mindset and lifestyle to help you become fitter, healthier and happier. I help busy people who lack time, motivation and self-belief to look and feel great again. If you want to work with me, head over to lornamariefitness.co.uk, but for now, enjoy this episode.
Hello, squaddies. Hello, welcome to the studio. Say hi if you're there or hashtag replay if you're watching this on the replay. I hope you're good. I hope you're having a lovely Monday so far. How's it been? By the way, if you've not done power yoga or combat wowzer yet, you need to do it because wowzer, they were really good workouts. Have you done them? Let me know in the comments if you've done them, if you were there live, if you've just done it on live replay, or if you did it on demand. Let me know. Really enjoyed those today. Talk about starting your week off on a really good note. Did you have a nice weekend? I know that a lot of you have been absolutely smashing the 29-29 challenge. And if you haven't started it yet, it's not too late. Remember, there's 3 levels. You can do 14, you can do 21, or you can do 29. Or if you're thinking, oh, I've missed the boat, why don't you just see what you can do? Why don't you set yourself a target and see what you can get to by the end of February? It's a really good little motivational thing to do. It's nice to have little targets to set, and I'll always keep challenging you. So I'm just checking that I am live in the group right now, because it's not coming up on my laptop. Okay, I am. Oh, there's me. I hate watching myself back. Does anyone else? If ever I do a live or something, I'm like, right, okay, yep, done, bye. Throw it to the side. Now, I had an idea, and I wanted to know if you wanted to do this as well. So a couple of things before we start, actually. Thank you for your suggestions for Stronger. And also thank you to everybody who suggested about the hike. So we're going to be doing a hike in the second part of the year. Last year we did the Yorkshire Three Peaks for the Children's Bereavement Centre, and we raised over £2,600, which was just incredible. Let me know I've posted it on the top of the Facebook group in the featured area, where you want to go. There's so many places, so many different challenges we can do. But what I'm going to do is collate all your ideas, and then I thought we would put a poll up and just see, what's the most popular. And also, obviously, I'd have to look into the logistics of it all and see which one is most suitable, like what we can actually do. So make sure you have commented on that one. And finally, before we get started, at the end of this month, the 2-week vouchers that you got at Christmas for your family and friends, they will expire, they will go out. So make sure that you pass them on. It's a gift from us to give to you, to your friends and family. I personally think that it's so important to look after those who are closest to us. And with what we do at the squad, we're quite literally changing people's lives. So if you want to look after those closest to you, it might just be a little, oh, hey, I've got one of these. Little do they know, they take that voucher, they come and join us, and actually they feel more confident than they've ever done before, they're fitter than they've ever been before, and they're healthier than they've ever been. So I personally think it's really important, and it's totally free. So definitely make sure you pass those on. And if they want to use them towards the next intake, so as you know, we do little intakes throughout the year. The next one starts on the 4th of March. And squaddies, don't forget that we opened it up in January to squaddies. And the squaddies who are on the course right now have said how much they've benefited from it. It's that extra layer of accountability, motivation. And if you're struggling at the moment, you want to get back on the wagon, or you've got a particular goal that you want to work towards, you work more closely with me. And there really is like an inner community within our community when you do it. It's very close-knit and it's very, very supportive. So if you feel like you just need that little reboot, or you just need that little bit of help getting to where you want to be, I would highly recommend getting on the March one. So if you do want to get on it, you can apply. If you go onto the member homepage, there's a button where you can apply for it. Get on there. And if you just on the January one, you want to do it again, you can do it again as well. Of course you can. So that's coming up very, very soon. All right, let's do the Q&A. Here we go. Did you like that? Right, let's go from the very top. And if you've got any questions in the meantime, please pop them in the comments. And as always, if you're watching this on a replay and you've got questions, just pop them in the comments and I can always go back in. I get notified so I can go back in and check them out. Oh, another thing. There's so many things. Another thing is, don't forget, we have the walk on the 25th of Feb. And if you're not free on the 25th of Feb, we have the live drum and bass combat on the 15th of March. The tickets aren't out yet. I'm going to sort that out this week. I don't like to put it out too early, but there's been a lot going on and I don't want to overwhelm anyone with too much going on. So yeah, the March 1 tickets will be coming out this week at some point. So keep your eye on your email or just open the Friday email because everything's in that one. Right. Question number 1. Rowing with hand weights. Should I have my fist parallel to my body or at right angles? Does it matter and what difference does it make? Now, it changes the muscles you're using ever so slightly. So when you have the fist parallel to your body or facing your body, it really helps to engage more of your lats, so your big back muscles, and your rhomboids, which are kind of just between your shoulder blades. So when you're having your fist parallel to your body, yeah, that does that. When you have them at right angles to your body, it engages the biceps a little bit more. It depends on what you're trying to target and what you're trying to do, what feels better in your body. So just be really mindful of where you feel it when you're doing it as to what you want to target. So there's no right or wrong here. It just depends on what you're wanting to target. Question 2. Are there any exercises that are particularly good for posture in my shoulders and upper back? I always feel like I look slightly hunched or fat in this area. The top exercise for your posture, hands down, is Pilates. So Pilates is so good for your posture because there's a real big emphasis on 1, holding yourself properly, 2, breathing properly, and 3, working your core. And your core, your deep core muscles, are really, really important for your posture. So if you are not doing regular Pilates, I would 100% recommend doing Pilates a couple of times a week. That is going to help you so much with your posture and with your back strength. With back strength in particular, you can be doing things like rows, so like what we just spoke about. You can be doing flies, you can be doing back extensions, which is what we do in Pilates as well. And I'd be really just mindful in your day-to-day life how you're holding yourself, and maybe even looking in the mirror and seeing how you're standing and how you can correct it, and just keep doing that and keep adjusting it. And if you keep doing that and also being really mindful when you're doing your exercises, when you're doing your Pilates, when you're doing your strength training, you'll start to subconsciously be putting yourself in these better postural positions. So that is my 3rd tip. Also, little bonus tip here. It's really important to work back strength, but it's also really important to be releasing tension. So a lot of people find that they might be hunching over because they're extremely tight in the front of the body and in the chest. That's really, really common. So you might want to do exercises where, yes, you're strengthening your back muscles, but you're also really stretching out the front of the body. I would really recommend getting some regular Pilates and yoga into your weekly practice to help both strengthen and just release tension and improve the mobility, flexibility in your back and in the front of the body too. I hope that's helpful. But give it a go, adjust things slightly, and give it a go for a few weeks. See how you get on. Always give things at least a month to decide whether they're starting to make a difference or not. Things like that might take a little bit longer, of course, but definitely try it. Number 3, what is the best exercise class to improve balance? The best exercise class to improve your balance, I personally think, is going to be Yogascape, because we have that actual dedicated balance track in there. But even before then, we're practicing core strength with our flows, and there's some balance incorporated within that too. And another reason I say Yogascape is because we keep the same release for a few weeks, so you can actually monitor and watch your progress with your balance as the weeks go on. I would say with balance, it gets better with practice. So just make sure you're being really patient with your body and you're consistently practicing your balance, then it will get better. The only way it gets worse is if we just don't do it or we don't practice it. So it doesn't matter how old you are, where you are with your fitness, where you are with your balance, the more you practice it, the better it will become, the better it will get. Balance also comes with your core strength and your core stability. So I would be putting some Pilates in there. Definitely. You do things like the bird dog, the plank, the Superman, you've got the bridge, you've got back extensions, you've got swimmers in there. So many different things that are going to help really, really strengthen your postural muscles, strengthen your back as well. You know how we were talking about back strength? And that is the next question, actually. So things that are working your deep core, that are going to work your stability, Yogascape, you've got the balance tracks in there. And one other thing, if you go to the plans and challenges area, I actually did an improve your balance plan. I'd definitely get on that. Definitely. And start practicing some of those, because I even put in some little mini exercises that you can do during your day. For example, when you're brushing your teeth, just standing on one leg. Just incorporate them into your daily life so you don't even really have to think about putting time aside to do it, and just start to practice your balance in your daily life. All right, let me know how you get on. Question number 4. What exercises can I do to improve my lower back strength? So they're going to be your core strength moves. I've already talked about a few. I would be doing Pilates. Again, Pilates is coming up, isn't it? Pilates is so good, everybody. But seriously, I would. Things like the back extension, like all the ones that I've spoken about, really, like the Superman, the back extension, the bridge, all of these are going to help build strength in your lower back. In other areas too. For example, the bridge really helps strengthen your glutes and your hammies, but it does target your lower back. Back extensions really, really work to target your lower back. Supermans, swimmers, all of those really, really good strengthening exercises for your lower back. Then, as with the question number 2, where we were talking about feeling a little bit hunched over, maybe tightness in the chest and weakness in the back, I would really be working to release your back as well as strengthen it. Things like that would be yoga, or even in Yogascape, so when we're doing rotations, we're doing twists. Maybe things like the cat and cow, when you're on all fours and you're really opening up your back. Child pose, that can be a nice release for your lower back. It's quite a gentle one. Downward facing dog to lengthen out your spine. And another thing you can do is strength work. Things like deadlifts, even things like when we do kettles and kettlebells, kettlebell swings, they can be good for strengthening your lower back. But as always, listen to your body. And if you're going to be doing things like that, if you have a bit of a weakness in your back, of course, I wouldn't be hitting the hardest, heaviest weight straight away. Gradual with everything. But focus on Pilates, yoga for the releasing, and then a bit of strength work as well. And you will improve the strength in your lower back. Pilates a couple of times a week. I have a question about rows and deadlifts. Although I'm not going so low on the weights, I never know how much my knees should be bent. Does it matter? Does how my knees affect where I'll feel it? Okay. I don't know if I've read that right. Basically, so the question is, does it matter how bent your knees are when you're doing things like rows or deadlifts, and does that affect where you feel it? Now, when you do a row, generally you just want a slight bend in the knees. You want it to feel comfortable, but we're leaning over, we're rowing to really get into the back of the body. When you're doing things like deadlifts, this is where it can vary a little bit. The more you bend your knees, the more you're going to send it into your quads, which is the front of the legs, the thighs. How we do it and how we do it in Stronger is we hinge forward from the hips. So we initiate the move from the hips as opposed to the knees. So with the knees, you've just got a little bit of a bend there. Not much at all, maybe like 20 degrees. Just enough to keep it comfortable. So I would be doing a small bend in the knees. I'd be initiate the movement from my hips, and then then you'll feel it more in the back of the body. But you'll see people doing it differently, and I really do think the most important thing is feeling comfortable in your own body. And think about where you're targeting as well. So if you're doing a deadlift to target the back of your body and your hamstrings, but then you bend your knees a lot and you feel it in the quads and you don't feel it in the hamstrings, then we're not targeting the muscles that we want to. So when you are doing the movement, just think about how you're feeling it, where you're feeling it, and where you want to be targeting right now. That's my best piece of advice. Everyone's going to have a slightly different bend in the knee, I guess, depending on your body, your body type. If you've got really long legs, or if you've got a really long torso, or what feels right for you, your body makeup. But I would be, particularly with what we do, and so with Stronger and things like that, we're moving a little bit quicker. So we're using lighter weights, high repetition. We're doing it to the beat of the music. So when we say hinge forward from the hips and we're going from the knees to the belly to the knees, that's suitable for the exercises and the workouts that we do. You'll see other people, say in the gym, where they're lifting heavier weights and they're not doing as many repetitions. They might take the bar all the way down towards the floor. That can put a lot of pressure on your lumbar spine, the lower part of your back. So you've got to do what is safe with the weight you've got, with the timing that you're using, and think about the muscles that you want to be targeting. If you're not sure, I would maybe record yourself doing it, go on the how-to area where it breaks down all the moves, and then you can always send a little video to me as well, and I can have a little look for you. Okay, next question. I think I mentioned to you before about legs up the wall pose for 20 minutes. Since my knee injury, I haven't been doing it, but I feel as though I want to start again. Do you have any thoughts on this? I used to do it every day, but it became a little bit too painful after my knee injury. So legs up the wall is where you're lying down on the floor and you've got your legs up the wall. And it's meant to be really, really good for de-stressing, and it's meant to help with your circulation. And it can help with knee pain and things like that. But if this is causing you knee pain and it doesn't feel nice, then definitely don't do it. I would always be listening to your body 100%, and maybe check with a medical professional as well. It's really difficult for me to say what you should and shouldn't be doing, because I'm not a medical professional, I'm a fitness professional, so I do have to say that first and foremost. So I would be checking with a medical professional or maybe a physio if you're not sure. But I would suggest not doing it if it hurts, if it causes discomfort, because then it's not going to be relaxing for you. It's not going to be giving you the effects and the benefits that you want it to have. Also, it's meant to stretch, obviously, out the back of your legs. Sorry, if you listen to this on the podcast, I've literally got my leg in the air right now. It's meant to stretch out your calves and your hammies. There are other ways to do that other than putting your leg up a wall if that feels uncomfortable. If you wanted to carry on doing it, you could think about maybe reducing the duration. 20 minutes is a long time to be doing that. You could be maybe really focusing in on your breath as you're doing it for the relaxation effect, and to make sure you're not holding any unnecessary tension. For example, if you're holding tension in your quads or anywhere else, it could be pulling on your knees. Or just do a different move. Do a different move that is going to have, if it's for stretching out your legs, have that benefit. So maybe lying on your back, again, you've got the weight off your body, so it's still quite a relaxing pose, lying on your back and doing a hamstring stretch. And just holding that for a minute and then switching sides or whatever you want to do. But that would be my suggestion on that one. And then if it just continue, just talking to a physio about it. I know the person who sent me this is seeing physio, so it might be worth just running it by them. Now, the next question. What's the best alternative to squats? Because I've been starting to get pain in my knee. I've been doing wall glute bridges, but I didn't know if there is another alternative. It depends on where you're getting the pain in your knee. Sometimes wall glute bridges, depending on how you do them, how long you're holding them for, hold on, wall glute bridges. Right, okay. Yeah. I was thinking wall squats in my head then. I mean, even wall glute bridges. So glute bridges, you don't necessarily need to use a wall for starters. So you could do them instead. So when you say wall glute bridges, are you lying on the floor with your feet on the wall and then doing a glute bridge that way? You can also do wall squats. That was, sorry, as soon as I read that, that was the first thing that came into my mind. Sometimes doing wall squats are okay, but they can put quite a lot of unnecessary pressure on your knee depending on how you're sitting. Like I find that if you hold a position for a long time, sometimes that can like almost push the knee forwards depending on how you're holding it and if you get fatigued. Yes, okay, so you're lying down and you've got your feet on the wall. Yeah, so I mean that is one. You can also do that on the floor. That is still going to work. That's still going to work the quads. It's still going to have a similar effect to doing squats. One thing I would be looking at is kind of thinking about why am I starting to get pain in the knee, as opposed to trying to find an alternative to doing a squat. Obviously, if it hurts, don't do it. But I'd be thinking about why is this happening? Because generally the reason we get injuries or pain in certain areas can be due to muscle weaknesses, like weaknesses in a certain area and a muscle imbalance. So it might be the fact that the muscle supporting your knees, there's an imbalance there somewhere. So I would be doing exercises to really work like my glutes and things like that. I'll be doing the booty band to try and build up some strength, and then I'll be making sure that I'm doing a lot of releasing exercises as well. So just carrying on with, you know, your Pilates and Yogascape, things like that, and getting into a routine. Secondly, I would be looking at my technique. So I'm not saying that you've got a bad technique or anything, but I would just have a look, like go on the how-to area, go on to squats, and then actually look at yourself in a mirror when you're doing it, or film it on a camera with it side on so you can actually see how you're holding yourself, or even from different angles so you can see where the position of your knees are, where your hips are, and see if you notice anything. Like if your knees are buckling in when you do a squat, for example, that's going to get the inside of the knee. Or send it to me. Just take a little video from all angles and then I can have a proper look and see how you're doing it. That is, see, this is what I know these are more sort of long term and not for the short term for classes. For the short term for classes, lunges could help. You could keep a small lunge, you could do a reverse lunge, which is less pressure on the knees. You could do step ups, so actually using a step. You could use a bike and turn the resistance up, or you've got bridges, or you could do like a smaller squat, like a less deep squat. But I would be just really trying to think about my technique and thinking about, okay, have I got any muscle imbalances going on here or any tightness somewhere that's maybe pulling on the knees? So for example, a lot of people get knee pain if they have really, really tight hips and quads. So I'd be thinking, okay, do I have tight hips? If you don't know, maybe go and do some like hip stretches from either Yogascape or just, we've got some short hip stretches. Test that out. Are your quads tight? Because if you have really tight hips and quads, that can be pulling on the knee. See what I mean here? It's a case of like trying to work out what's going on in the body. Or it could even be a joint thing. So maybe thinking of, okay, how am I having the right things for my joints? So I need to think about maybe some supplements like glucosamine for my joints. Is it an overtraining thing? Do I need to take a couple of days off just to give my knees a bit of a rest so then they feel a bit better? So many different things. I hope that's useful, by the way. But yeah, it really can be so many different things. The next question is a little bit similar. So I really struggle with lunges as my knee's damaged from dislocation. So is it okay to do knee-friendly lunges? Obviously, this is a slightly different case. Will it still work the muscles effectively? Now, I don't, knee-friendly lunges, I'm wondering what knee-friendly lunges are. All lunges should be knee-friendly. I get the point that you're trying to make. One knee-friendly version of lunges is reverse lunges. So that is when you step backwards as opposed to step forwards. It's much kinder on your knees and it really activates the glutes more to really control that movement, get you into it. Oh, Steph, you're welcome. You're welcome. Let's find out what it is. So reverse lunges is a good one. Or you can just reduce the range of movement, or squats can be a little bit kinder than lunges because you're on 2 feet then. But as always, it's just so important to listen to your body and really take your time. But I would, if it is damage from dislocation, I would, and it's bothering you, again, I'd go and speak to a physio or a medical professional about it. But in terms of knee-friendly lunges, the reverse lunge is probably your best one on that one. And just also check your technique, same as the other question with the squats. Check your technique. Go on the how-to area, go through it, break it down, and just take a few moments just to film yourself doing it or watch yourself doing it in a mirror to see if you can spot anything. So a lot of people, when they do lunges, don't realize it, but even on a reverse lunge, step back and the knee kind of buckles in a little bit. So that's why when you hear me talk about lunges, I always say push your front knee out towards your little toe, because it helps engage your glutes and hold your knee in a better position. So that's why you hear me say that. It's like a little safety cue to make sure you're doing it, a little reminder. And then it's me. The next question is me saying, just a reminder, it's the Q&A tonight, everyone. Thanks, Lorna. Okay. Next question is about push-ups and floor exercises on strength, laying on a step. Are there any benefits to using a step? I can see lowering on a bar, you have to use arm strength as your arms won't hit the floor. Hope you follow that. Oh, okay. So like when you're doing a chest track in Stronger, for example, lying on a step using a bar, that's for comfort really. So whether you're lying down on the floor or you're lying on a step, the range of movement or the target should be the same. Elbows roughly about 90 degrees should be the same. It should be just above the step and it should be just above the floor. So that doesn't really make a difference. If you find it more comfortable lying on a step, great. With push-ups, if you do incline push-ups, which is where you've got your hands on the step, it makes it easier. It's easier to do an incline push-up than a push-up on the floor because it's changing the angle of your body when you're doing the push-up, so you've got less weight in the upper body when you're doing it. So it's a good one to do if you are building up to a push-up. But of course, there's other ways to build up to a push-up. If you go on the how-to area, great area. If you go on there, what I've done is I've broken down all the different types of push-ups and how you can progress them. But an incline push-up with your hands on a step is one way to do that. So if you have, say, sometimes you get a little pain in your I just said that really weirdly. If you get a bit of pain in your elbows or your shoulders, sometimes doing them on an incline or a step can help with that. Or in your wrists, you can hold around the outside of the step if you feel like holding your wrists at that flex position where you've got your hands on the floor hurts it a little bit. If you hold on to the outside of the step, then on the narrow end, then you put your wrists in a different position. See how my wrist is long and straight there? And that can help. But you can also do a push-up on the flat of your fist to do that too. So that's why you might want to use a step, but there are other ways of progressing your push-up without a step, or if you don't have a step, or if you don't want to do that. I personally think the most effective way to do it is if you're going between doing it on your knees and you're wanting to progress onto your toes. I would start off in a plank position on your toes, lower yourself carefully down to the floor slowly, put the knees in the floor, and then come up on your knees. So you're lowering down on your toes, pop the knees in the floor, and then come up. And I personally think that that's the best way to progress. And then one day, have a go on the toes and see how you get on. And it's just, again, it's that practice. Practice makes perfect. Well, team, they're all the questions from the Q&A this week. Thank you so much. Now, I noticed there are quite a few technical questions in there. So first things first, head over to the how-to area if you are unsure on any of your technique. But second thing, would you be interested and would you want to maybe do like a bit of a technique session one day? So we have a bit of a drop-in where we go through some moves. Let me know if that's something that would be of interest to you, and we could do maybe like a weekend or something, a morning where we just do a bit of a technique sesh. Let me know, pop it in the comments, and if so, I can get it organised and get it sorted. Anyway, gang, enjoy the rest of your night. Let me know on that one, and let me know about the things that I mentioned at the start. And if you're just tuning in now, you're going to have to go back to the start. And I will see you in class tomorrow at 6:30 or at 9:30, or I will see you on the live replay at 5:30 or 6, or on demand. I have to think then. It's only Monday. My brain's not even working. Anyway, team, I will see you soon. Have a wonderful rest of your evening and take care. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye.